Hello everyone, welcome back to the lectures. In this lecture, I would like to make a tutorial to Jupyter Notebook and Python. So here you can see my desktop. Firstly, if you want to run Python in your computer, you need some IDE. So here you can download the Anaconda, the software. And in this software, it will include some IDE where you can run your Python language. For example, you can see we have a Jupyter Lab, we have Jupyter Notebook here, and we also have Spider here, we have Orange, and we also have PyCharm here. And if you want to use Jupyter Notebook, you can just click Launch. And if you want to use some others, you can also click Launch. So you need firstly install this one. I will launch the Jupyter Notebook. And once you launch your Jupyter Notebook, you will have something like this. And if you want to have a new file open, you can just create new and Python 3 here. It will create a notebook like this. Of course, there are some other notebook you can use like Google Colab from Google. So the advantage of Google Colab is that it can share the codes with different peers. If in your project there are several persons working on this code, so you can share and you can work at the same time. But here I will just make this tutorial based on this Jupyter Notebook, which is also a very good and convenient IDE here. So in this Jupyter Notebook, the interface is something like this. So here, so this one is where you can input your code. For example, if you input 1+1, and you can see this one is code here, and you can click the run here, and it will run the code for you, and it will give you the output. This is one way to run the code, and another way to run the code, which you will use more often, is that you just press Control and Enter. It will run the code for you, so you know you don't need to click the run here. Okay, so if you move your mouse inside of this code block, you can see the color here is green. So it means that you are doing something in the in this block. So if you click outside of this block, this color will be changed to blue. It is blue means that you are no longer in this block when you type in. And for example, if you want to insert another block below this block cell, you can press B. So you can see it will create another block cell below this cell. If you want to create another cell above this cell, you can put it to the blue and you press A. It means above. So you can see it will create another cell above this cell. What if you want to delete this cell? You just click here and you press D 2 times. It will delete that cell for you. And also this one, you want to delete it, you just press D on your keyboard 2 times. It will delete this for you. Okay, and so you can see here is the code. Sometimes you can also change it to Markdown. So Markdown means that this is not code anymore. So this one, you will use it for inputting your titles. For instance, my title here would be, this is lecture 10, and this is Python and Jupyter Notebook tutorial. And you need also to run this cell. The method is the same. You just press Control and Enter. You can see it changed to something like this. So this is actually a title here, not code. Okay, and okay, let's start our. That's something about the Jupyter Notebook, and let's start the Python tutorial. I will create many cells here. Okay. Firstly, you can do many calculations here, 2 plus 3, and then you run this cell, it will give you 5, and you run 2 multiplied with 3, it will give you 6, and you can also run 2 raised to the power of 3. You will use a double star, so this means 2 raised to the power of 3, it will give you 8. And also, you sometimes need to assign the number to some variables to store this number. If you assign 3 to this variable, if you run this, you will see nothing. Because here you just assign this variable to this var and nothing else. If you want to see this variable, you need to use print and you input this bar here. And this one, when you run this cell, it will print this variable for you. And also, you can also check the type of this variable. You can type and var this variable. So you can see this is an integer. So the type of this variable is int. If you change it to 2.2, run it again, and run this cell again, and it is changed to float because this is not integer anymore. And we have other type of variables like string. The string will be included by this single notation or this double notation here. You can use either. And if you use the single quotation, let's put the string as hello world. Okay, if you run this cell, you can see this string is printed out directly. Of course, you can also assign this string to some variable. Let's suppose the variable is the string, and here you can print string. Okay, you can see it will give you this string, but without the quotation here, just hello world here. Okay, so this string is actually indexed by numbers. We all have index in this string. So this hello is HELLO. So each letter has its index. The index is started from 0 here. So this index, the index of H is 0. Index of this E is 1. Okay, you need to keep it there in mind. So what if I want to get the letters, just these letters? And you can see the index should be start from 0. So you can put a 0 and a colon here. And this index would be end 1 behind this O. So it would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You should put 5 here. And you can see it will give you a hello. This 5 is the index of this space. But this one will not, it will end here, but it will not get the index of 5. It will just get this index of 4. So this is one point you need to pay attention. So by default, you can put another column and as 1. So this one is the step size. Step size means each time you move this index by 1. You can change it by 2. By default, it's 1. And you can also change it to 2. So you can see the result now is different because you are indexed from this H, but each time you move 2 letters. So the second letter is this one because you have skipped one letter here. So the second is L, and again it will give you the O here. Okay. And this is something about the string. And another thing is I can give you some code like name is, let's see, it's Mary. It's a string, and Mary's ID is 123. What if you want to print a sentence to say that my name is you want to say that my name is Mary and my ID is 123. But you know, sometimes if the person is changed, this sentence is not changed. Just the name and ID is changed. So you will put some code like this. You will put a percentage as my ID is percentage D, and then you will put another percentage. You put a square, and you put these two variables name, ID here, ID. Okay, so you can see this one will print out my name is Mary. You can see it didn't print out this one because this one is connected to this variable name, and this percentage D is connected to this ID. And if you change the name to maybe Henry, and then you change the ID, and you run this cell, and only the name and the ID is changed. Okay, and another one you print this is you can use F and quotation. My name is you put bracket here. Is name. You put this variable, and my ID is ID. So this one, if you run this cell, you can see these two sentences are exactly the same. So you can put this code as either way here. You can use either. And let's next talk something about the list, because list is very commonly used in Python and machine learning. Okay, I will give this list. So this is our list. Let's suppose it's 1, 2, 3. So this is a list. So the list is defined by this square bracket. If you change the type, if you check the type of this variable, this list, you can see it will give you the type is list. Okay, and okay, let's now give you a list like this, square bracket, and the first one is a string, machine learning, and the second element inside of list is just an integer, and the third element is another list. So you can see that one property of the list is that it can include different types of variables. It can include string. It can include the integer. It can also include some other list. And also the list is also can be indexed. And the index also starts from 0. So the index of this string is 0, and the index of this integer is 1. Index of this one is 2. Let's try it. Let's see, we have, I need to run this cell. Okay, my list. And let's say we want to index this one. And so the index of 1 is 1. You can see it gives you 1. And if we change it to 2, it will index this one, this list. So it will give you this index here. And if you want to use 0, so it will give you this string. And what if I want to index this, just this A letter? So the first step you need to do is you need to index this string. And then the next step is you need to index this A letter. So you can put 0. Now you have indexed this machine learning, this string. And then if you want to index this letter, A, you need to make another index here. And so this index of this A inside of this string is 1. So you will put 1 here, and then you can see it will give you A here. So it's a double index here actually. Okay, another property of the list is that it can be changed and it can be appended. So if you want to append another something else in the back, you can put like this. You can type my list dot append here, and you will put those things you want to append. Let's say you want to append another string that is hello world. And if you run this cell, now this list, this my list, is changed from this one to this one. We can print it out. So you can see this list is changed from this one. This one only has 3 elements, but this one, when you append this string, it will have this string you just appended in the back of this list. So this is one very important property here. Okay, now what if you want to index this hello world? The index of this one, you can try my list, and the index of this one is 0, 1, 2, 3 is 3. You can do like this. Is 3. By this way, you can index this hello world. Another way is that you can put it as -1, because we can see this string hello world is the last element of this list. So this is the way to index the last element inside of the list. So its index is -1. So we can see that it's also hello world here. This is a simpler way to do that. And in Python, you can also have some comparison here. If you say 1 is greater than 2, it will give you false because 1 is not greater than 2. And if you say 1 equals 3, so you put 2 equals, it means equal in math. Because 1 equal notation means you will assign something to some variable. So here we use 2 equals. If you run this cell, of course 2 is not equal to 3, so it will give you false. And if we can use some not equal notation like this. So if we put like this, it means 2 is not equal to 3. If you run this cell, it will give you 2 because this is 2. 2 is not equal to 3. If we change it to 3 is not equal to 3, it will give you false. Okay, this is obvious. Okay, and if we want to compare some variables, we can use some if statements. For example, if we have 2 numbers and these 2 numbers is x and y, and they can be any numbers, and we want to ask our computer to compare which one is bigger. This is very important for our human, and this is a very simple comparison. And we want to ask our computer to give that result to us directly. And we can write something like this. We can use if x is less than y, we will put a column here. We can print like y is greater than x, okay? And we can use else if means if this statement is not true, it will goes to this statement. If else if x is equal to y, put a column here, means if x equals to y, the computer will tell us a sentence, y is equal to x. Okay, so you see here we have covered 2 scenarios. That is, x is smaller than y, and x is equal to y. the last scenario we didn't cover is that x is greater than y. We just use else to cover all those scenarios. So we'll use y is less than x. Okay, we can see that now 6 is greater than 4. So the result should be this one. Should be this one. Y is greater than x. If you run it, you can see that it gives you a result. Y is greater than x. And if we make it 4, so they are equal. So y is equal to x. Yeah. Okay. You can play around it. And the next one is the for loop here. So if my list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, what if I want to print every element inside of this list? We can use some sentence like this. We can use for a in my list. So this means this a is a temporary variable. And for any a in my list, so this means it will go through every element inside of this list, and it will store in this temporary variable here, and you will print a. So it means for each element inside of the list, it will print it out for you. So you can see it will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for you. Okay, and also I use this my list. What if I want to take the square of each element inside of this list? I want to take the square of each element. The first way you can do is output. You can define an empty list to receive the result, and you can use for a in my list. So it's the same as this one. It will go through every element inside of this list. You want to take the square, of course you need to use this one. This is take the square, but you want to make this result inside of this list. So you will use output dot append we just mentioned. So the append means that you will append this result into this output. And after you do this, you will have a new list. You just need to print it out. Output. So you can see this new list is after you taking the square of each element inside of this one. Okay, and you can see this code is long, and we have another one to make this code shorter. Is that we will also use this sentence. I just copy it. So this one, it will go through every element inside of my list, and then I will put the sentence in the front as a raised to the power of 2. So this one is much simpler than this block, right? So if you run this, because I have put a square bracket, this one will give me another list. You can see this new list is exactly the same as this one, and so this one is just only one line of code, so it's much simpler than this one. Okay, and next, let's talk something about the while loop. This is for loop, and we also have the while loop. And while loop is similar to other languages in MATLAB or C++. So it's something like this: I equals to 1. If while means that if this condition is satisfied, while I is less than 6, you will print this I. So it means that if I is less than 6, you will print it out, and then you will add 1. You will add 1 to I. You will add 1. So this plus equal means that you will add just 1 to this I, and you will assign this number to I again. Okay, if you do this, it will print 1, and then it will print out 2, all the way to 5. So it will not print out 6 for you because 6 is not smaller than 6. It's equal to 6. So this condition is not satisfied, so it will not print 6 for you. Okay, while statement is very simple. And the last thing I want to cover is the function. Suppose we want to define a function to calculate the summation 1 plus 2 plus 3 all the way to n. Suppose we want to define a function to calculate this. So if you want to define a function in Python, you can use sum. You can use the def here, and you will give your function a name as sum, and you can put some variables inside of it, and this is n. So this n would be this number here. You put a column, and I will use this result, maybe result, to receive the result. And so this one, I will put the initial value as 0, and then we will use the for loop for I in. I will use this range plus 1. So this range will give you a set of numbers that is started from 0 all the way to n. So here, if you put n plus 1, so the last number would be just n. If you put this one as n, so last number would be n minus 1. So here is something you should keep in mind, because this summation, we can sum it to n. So here we will put it to n plus 1 to create a set of numbers that is started from 0 to n. I need to put a column here, and then we will do the summation here, n plus equal I here. So this one, it will sum all those numbers up because this I, the increment of I is 1, and you just sum them up, so that would be enough. And lastly, you will ask your function to return some number for you. So the number you will return from your the function will return is this result. Sorry, here I should use result here. Okay, you need to run this function before you use the function here. And if you want to use the function, you just type the same name of this function, and you should use some variable here. If you want to make the capital N as 100, it means you will do the summation from 1 to 100, and you run it. You can see it will give you a number. So this would be the result when you do a summation from 1 to 100. If you want to check the result, whether if it's right, you can put to a smaller number. So you can see the summation from 1 to 3 is 6. So it should be right. You can change it to 5. So it's 15 here. Okay, that's all I want to cover in this lecture. So in this lecture, I have introduced the Jupyter Notebook and Python, some simple calculations in Python. You can keep the Python as your calculator, and because it's convenient, and you can have more practices if you keep it as your calculator. And in the next several videos, I think I will also make a tutorial on the NumPy and the Panda, and also I may do some simple examples on linear regression or ridge regression by using the sklearn libraries. Okay, I think that's all for today's video. Thank you for watching. See you next time.